Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching the Season 1 finale for X-Men 97. And with so many cameos that I kind of lost count partway through, and with some excellent final battles against Bastion, Mr. Sinister, and Magneto, this is pretty much everything you'd want out of a finale to a big comic book story arc, while it also sets up some intriguing developments for the second season. But let's get to the story, shall we? Professor X spends most of the episode trying to appeal to Magneto's better nature by going inside his mind as a last resort after he critically injured Wolverine. As the rest of the X-Men have to try and fight off Bastion, as Mr. Sinister is finally reduced to his elderly self after Jean Grey is able to defeat him. Basically, he's been splicing together mutant genes to retain his youth, and now he can no longer do that. Bastion tries his hardest to fight off every single one of the X-Men. He ends up not being able to do it. And the UN tries to blow up Asteroid M as part of their Magneto protocol. They had a protocol in case Magneto ever tried to threaten the entire world, like he did at the start of this arc. So the asteroid is about to crash into Earth, and all the X-Men go from fighting Bastion to trying to prevent the asteroid from colliding with Earth, which would probably kill a good amount of people if that happened. All the while, we see cameos from so many beloved Marvel characters that I'm pretty sure they just decided to put in as many as possible. This includes Spider-Man and Mary Jane, Cloak and Dagger, Dust. Yeah, there are some obscure ones too. Two ones that most X-Men fans will remember, like Psylocke. Heck, even King T'Chaka, the Black Panther before T'Challa, gets to have a voice cameo, so maybe he could have a role later on in the series. But in true X-Men fashion, turns out what seems like the end of humankind is prevented at the last second, and our heroes end up some in the past and some in the future, as we get to see that the next major villain is going to be En-Shabanur, aka Apocalypse. Well, I hope it'll be better off than how Oscar Isaac portrayed the character in the 2016 film. So yeah, having some of our heroes in 3000 BC Egypt and some of the other ones in over 1,000 years into the future, that's a pretty interesting way to handle a time travel story. Especially considering that I'm wondering how the time travel really worked if half of the team got sent into the distant past and if the other half got sent into the future. Something must have happened in the time travel process for that to happen. But aside from that, which I'm sure will get cleared up in the second season anyways, this whole first season of X-Men 97 pretty much reminded me of why I loved the original comics and the original cartoon in the first place. It was clearly made by people who loved the original cartoon and who wanted to do the comic storylines justice. They were people who clearly care about these characters, even getting a lot of the original voice actors to come back to play them decades later, and some of them still haven't lost their touch, which is pretty impressive. And it was clearly made by people who don't care at all about some of the online hate that the series got before it was even released. And I'm glad for that, considering that some of those people genuinely didn't have any idea what they were talking about. Some online criticism is definitely to be expected, and if it's genuine criticism that affects the show's writing and characters, it should be listened to. But if people are just going to hate on something before it even comes out for petty reasons, it's best not to listen to them. As there are some people who are just impossible to please no matter how hard you try. And I think that kind of sums up a lot of what the series is going for. You definitely should try to appeal. The X-Men definitely should try to appeal to as many people as possible, but there are some people who are just never going to be pleased, so they should just be ignored. Or as the X-Men do, often fight the villain until the people can see that the villain never had anyone's best interests in mind in the first place. So yeah, with the excellent animation by Studio Mir, tons of great storylines adapted well into animation, and us getting to see some of our favorite characters again after many years, it's not only one of the best shows that Marvel has done for Disney Plus for a while. I think it's just one of the best animated reboots that I've seen in a long time. So I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. See you next time.